I pried open the cork, and the Emperor's last plea was etched in blood. Anya Riel weaves through the phosphorescent kelp forests of drowned Nova Helix, salvage tools trailing behind her as she surveys rusted freighters swallowed by the deep. Amid the toxic sway, a glint catches her eye. A sealed crystal vial tangled in writhing vines, its surface etched with ancient imperial sigils. Her datapad flares urgent warnings. Contraband artifact detected. Yet curiosity and instinct override caution. The kelp's nanotoxic compounds drift lethally, but veteran divers like Anya have learned to dance with the deadly depths. Inside the vial, a flickering holographic message bursts to life. A gaunt emperor, ragged in blood-stained regalia, gasps against static. If you see this, know the empire collapses at dawn. His voice rasping with desperation, eyes haunted by betrayal. His image flickers amid the coral's eerie glow. Each word presses with the weight of a doomed dynasty. Around Anya, the reef trembles subtly, as if the depths themselves mourn this final royal cry. The Emperor's last words, "Save them, save us, or let us die," pulse through Anya's helmet's speakers, intertwining with a low hum of distant patrol drones. The reef's bioluminescent stalks pulse in rhythm with her quickening heartbeat, casting shifting shadows across her visor. The command hangs heavy, equal parts plea and warning. In this abyss, silence fractures, replaced by the echo of revolution. Tucking the vial into her suit's cargo pit, Anya's datapad screams, "Unauthorized artifact, evidence of treason." Her mind races. Is this a dying emperor's desperate plea, or a cunning trap set by enemies? The lure of salvage credits whispers from one side, the call of duty from the other. Behind her, reef stalks sway like watchful sentinels, their glow urging her forward. Every second tightens the choice: sell the find and survive, or embrace a cause that might doom her, and yet reshape the stars. With a final glance at the reef's luminescent pulse, Anya steels herself. She trades petty salvage for a cause vast enough to rewrite worlds. Her suit seals hiss softly as thrusters engage, parting kelp vines like curtains on destiny. Patrol drones close in, their sirens wailing a death sentence, but she surges forward, vial secured, heart racing with fierce resolve. The current of revolution sweeps her onward, no longer just a diver, but the harbinger of change. The Galactic Concord, once hailed as a unifying alliance after the Outer Rim Wars, has twisted into a bureaucratic leviathan, extorting tribute from worlds under the guise of peacekeeping. Starliners crawl along glowing customs pylons, their long lines stretching like veins across the starry expanse. Worn freighter captains tally mounting tolls they cannot pay, faces shadowed beneath flickering control panels. Entire planetary economies collapse as credits vanish in a bureaucrat coffers, leaving behind only faint echoes of autonomy and freedom. Hollow bulletins blaze across every starport, their urgent red glow turning vibrant markets into battlegrounds of fear. Emperor declares martial curfew. Curators must report all artifacts. The message thunders through docking bays and market plazas alike. Traders scramble behind crates, hastily hiding relics beneath tarp-covered stalls. Engineers rush to reroute communication arrays, their fingers dancing over consoles as they filter imperial propaganda. Beneath pulsing red curfew lights, citizens lower their visors and move with cautious haste, each heartbeat counting down the moments before enforced silence descends. Sleek patrol frigates streak through nebula-streaked star lanes, their hulls bristling with plasma cannons that slice through the cosmic mist like jagged red lightning. Any ship flagged for unregistered history disintegrates into superheated ash before docking. Hollow target markers pulse ominously on civilian radars, bleaching manifests clean of illicit data. Small craft dive into asteroid shadows, hoping to evade the piercing gaze of Imperial sensors. On Nova Helix's perimeter, drifting wreckage silently testifies to those who dare to keep forbidden knowledge. Their remains floating like ghostly monuments beneath cold, indifferent stars. Behind adamantine vaults, interstellar archives lock away centuries of knowledge, their doors sealing with a hiss that echoes through empty halls. Holologs and ancient tomes vanish into shadows guarded fiercely by archivist generals who wield redaction tools as weapons. Researchers desperate for truth smuggle data crates through winding subterranean tunnels, their hands exchanging drives in fleeting shadows beneath flickering neon lights. The oppressive silence smothers history itself. Erased memories allow imperial narratives to reign unchallenged. In hidden alleys, Nova Helix scribes whisper fragmented lore, desperate to stitch together the shattered past. Battered plazas hum with uneasy barter as refugees trade ration packs for water filters beneath the cold gaze of mechanized sentinels. Steel-clad drones hover overhead, their scanning beams sweeping across crowded stalls, probing for irregular biometrics or unauthorized items. Mothers clutch heirloom cred sticks, exchanging them quietly for salvaged med gels. Children learn early to whisper deals behind cloaked visors, their eyes wary as they dart beneath flickering holo ads. Each furtive transaction is an act of silent defiance. Every covered face a small rebellion etched against the crushing grip of control. Amid the market's hum, Anya recalls that valor is often born not from comfort, but from courage pressed hard by circumstance. Whispers have become dangerous. An overheard word could trigger loyalty implants designed to detonate with lethal precision. Citizens hush their voices, nerves taut beneath the constant hum of surveillance coils overhead. Informers slip hydrogel packs into anxious palms, poised to betray friends for credit rewards. Silence is survival. Rebels mark their throats with encrypted tattoos, tiny cryptors that bypass kill switch commands, hidden beneath scarves and collars. Even the reef's bioluminescent stalks outside seem to dim their glow, as if the living world itself shares the dread of speaking too loudly in these oppressive corridors. Encrypted data streams flood every star lane and data conduit, enforcing a tightly curated narrative across the galaxy. Unfiltered packets vanish without a trace. Pirate transmissions howl under bandwidth sieges that choke dissent. Citizens clutch relic data drives beneath their coats, decoding fragments of the dying emperor's last plea. Each unguarded byte of data pulses like a spark in the dark, a fragile step toward reclaiming stolen history. Among failing satellites, the hum of faltering networks reveals a pattern, an unraveling code. Hope encrypted in frequencies too quiet for most to hear. Within the Empire's dying corridors of power, the digital fabric frays. Patchwork hackers breach loyalty subroutines, while rebels hijack command nodes to expose vulnerabilities once thought impenetrable. Every broken protocol becomes a crack in the Imperial armor. Every leaked algorithm pulses with possibility. The system's own rules betray it, collapsing under the weight of contradictions and unrest. Here, on Nova Helix, revolution begins quietly. One fractured line of code at a time, neon reflections flickering across riveted bulkheads as the ancient order dissolves. Anya moved through the maze of secret corridors beneath the rebel enclave with practiced stealth, the soft hum of distant machinery barely audible over the quickening beat of her own pulse. Every step echoed the weight of forbidden knowledge she now carried. A crystal vial, its surface shimmering faintly with an inner light, containing the Emperor's final plea. She finally arrived at a concealed door, a carved insignia half swallowed by shadow, marking the entrance to Cale Durant's alcove. Beyond the threshold, a vaulted chamber awaited, alive with flickering candlelight that danced across walls lined with relics outlawed by imperial decree. Shelves groaned under the weight of dusty hollow scrolls, ancient elixirs, and contraband artifacts that whispered forgotten truths. Dust motes drifted lazily through shafts of golden light, caught in the suspended stillness of this sanctum. Anya produced the vial, lifting it carefully with a sly grin, her voice low but teasing. "Found a fortune in a bottle. Care to invest?" Kale emerged from the shadows, his eyes glinting like precious stones as he brushed aside a scattering of ivory runestones etched with archaic glyphs, the air thick with anticipation. "Let's see if it's debt or deliverance," he murmured, stepping closer. In this fragile sanctuary, built on trust and rebellion, the faintest ember of hope began to glow. Kale held the vial to the wavering candlelight, watching as the swirling hologram within came to life. The faint glow cast a reddish tint across his weathered features, etching shadows into the lines of years spent decoding secrets and surviving purges. Anya's grin cracked the tension like a sharp beam of light through a storm. "Found a fortune in a bottle. Care to invest?" she quipped again, a spark of levity against the crushing stakes they faced. Kale chuckled softly, the sound reverberating against stone walls heavy with history. "Let's see if it's debt or deliverance," he repeated, voice thick with unspoken hopes. Together, they adjusted the hollow slate's calibration, fine-tuning the ancient crystal's encryption until the Emperor's last words coalesced into blood-red glyphs, glowing symbols hovering between them like a spectral warning. The shifting light bathed their faces in an eerie crimson glow, reflecting the gravity of their discovery. A moment of silent acknowledgement passed between them, the weight of the message forging a pact more binding than any oath. Their shared humor and purpose tempered the raw edges of fear, transforming uncertainty into determination. Under the flickering candle flames, Kale's hollow slate projected fragmented imperial protocols, disjointed sequences of boot orders, vault lockdown mandates, and cryptic signatures from the Emperor himself. Anya leaned in, her eyes tracing the shifting lines of code as they painstakingly pieced together scattered clues that might unravel decades of secrecy. Each decrypted fragment offered a glimpse beyond the iron veil of imperial control, a key to unbinding the chains of oppression. Kale's finger hovered over a fading sequence, its glow flickering with fragile urgency. Anya's own hand trembled slightly as she hovered above it, breath held tight, in sync with the rapid thrum of her heart. The warm candlelight reflected in their eyes, catching every nuance of their expressions, hope, fear, and fierce resolve blending in equal measure. Their hands nearly touched above the glowing data arcs, a silent testament to their growing trust. In this fragile moment, data transformed into destiny, and two souls became intertwined in a shared quest for truth. Suddenly, the harsh blare of alarms shattered the sanctum's fragile calm. Imperial drones swept relentlessly through the lower decks, their cold searchlights piercing every shadow with brutal intent. Kale's gaze snapped toward the distant entrance, alert and calculating. "They're close," he warned, voice low but urgent. Without hesitation, he began typing a sequence of commands into his console. A false distress beacon, an elaborate subterfuge designed to divert Imperial patrols away from their location, was uploaded. The corridor HUD flared bright red with a treason detected warning, freezing both rebels in place. Their breaths came shallow, the weight of consequence pressing down as they realized this act of compassion would brand them irrevocably as traitors to the Empire. Outside, shadows of drones shifted, pivoting sharply toward the fabricated emergency signal, their whirring blades a chilling reminder of the peril closing in. Yet, in risking everything to protect one another and the fragile hope contained within the vial, Anya and Kale sealed a bond forged in defiance. The vault's hush returned, thick and enveloping as candle flames danced with renewed intensity. Anya and Kale exchanged a slow, half-smile, eyes locking in quiet understanding amid the golden glow. Two rebels against a dying throne. Kale whispered, voice a tether in the silent air. No further words were needed. The gravity of their shared defiance was heavier than speech. Their gazes carried unspoken promises, solidarity forged in the crucible of danger. Candlelight flickered across their faces, highlighting the lines of fatigue and fierce determination. The hollow maps dimmed softly as they leaned closer, the shadows around them merging into a protective cocoon. This unspoken connection, born of silent resilience, resonated louder than any declaration, binding them not only to a cause, but to each other. Without warning, vault lockdown sirens shrieked through the corridors, bouncing off stone archways and signaling imminent closure. Heavy doors began to seal with resonant thuds, echoing like the closing of fate's book. Standing firm, Anya and Kale grasped forearms in the ancient marcher fashion, a ritual oath older than empires, binding lives and deaths in irrevocable promise. We protect this message, even if it kills us. Their voices rose together, steady and unwavering, reverberating through the chamber's stone walls. Candlelight flared as if in salute, casting flickering halos around their resolute faces. This sacred ritual transcended mere words, transforming them from fugitives to guardians of a fragile hope. Their pact stood as a beacon of resistance against encroaching darkness, a promise that the truth they carried would survive even if they did not. Kale's fingers danced with practiced urgency across the hollow keyboard as he breached the Concord's most secretive black site mainframe. Vault doors parted in a whispered hiss, revealing a chamber suffused with cold, green light. Cascades of encrypted data streamed relentlessly across hollow screens, each flicker revealing fragments of the Emperor's darkest designs. Schematics rendered in intricate detail unfolded. A massive planetary core purge device, nestled at the very heart of the galactic core, a fail-safe weapon of last resort. Kale's visor reflected the swirling images of glowing core spheres, gravitational resonance patterns pulsing ominously. The archive's cold metal surfaces echoed faint beeps and whirs, amplifying the weight of the revelation. Every decrypted file chipped away at centuries of imposed silence, turning a scholar's quest into a fight for the survival of all sentient life. The archived files bore the mark of desperation, the Emperor's gambit to end all rebellion with annihilation, encoded in the most secure vaults of the Concord. As the encrypted files decrypted further, the gravity of the message sank into Anya's very bones. The dying plea she had risked everything to retrieve was not a call for salvation. It was a hidden death warrant for the colonies. If rebellion spread beyond a secret threshold, orbital defense systems would activate, unleashing cascading plasma waves designed to sterilize entire planetary surfaces in minutes. The holomap before them lit up with a sinister red, system after system marked for immediate purge, each a silent death sentence. Anya's gloved hands clenched around the datapad, knuckles whitening as alarms blinked faintly in the background. The revelation was brutal and absolute. The Concord had weaponized civilian populations, ready to incinerate their own worlds rather than relinquish control. The stark realization forced a dreadful choice between enduring hope and impending horror. The cold light of the holomap contrasted with the warmth draining from her face, underscoring the lethal consequences hidden beneath imperial bureaucracy. Ghostly hollow visages flickered to life, projecting the Emperor's final counsel. The hologram showed a frail figure seated on a shattered throne, his regal features etched with dread and fading authority. Knowledge saves more than armies. His voice trembled, a stark contrast to the commanding tone of past decrees. Around him, translucent phantoms of advisors swirled like restless specters, their faces flickering with uncertainty and regret, as if silently questioning the course they had chosen. The fractured throne room shimmered with static, the Empire's last breaths caught between desperation and hope. Anya watched, transfixed by the scene, feeling the raw vulnerability of a ruler torn between duty and conscience. The echo of his words wove through the chamber, humanizing a figure once seen only as tyrant, a moment where fear and empathy intertwined. The juxtaposition of fated grandeur and looming genocide carved a fissure in her resolve, transforming dread into a galvanizing empathy. A scrolling edict unfurled on the main holoscreen, its red-hot lettering pulsating with lethal finality. Engage core purge if Concord law is broken. Automated governors, bound by unyielding AI, stood ready to annihilate planetary crusts in microseconds once digital authorization was granted. Kale's eyes widened as his gaze caught a hidden sequence buried deep within the code. A cryptic bypass command concealed beneath layers of encryption, an ironic invitation to rewrite the Empire's own suicidal law. Their hack would not merely halt a purge. It needed to override loyalty implant lockdowns that threatened to detonate hostages in concert with the purge. The tension was palpable, the room alive with flickering red and green hololights reflecting the thin line between salvation and catastrophe. Every breath felt weighted with consequence. The failure would mean obliteration. The success, a fragile hope rewritten from within the Empire's own death warrant. Anya's chest tightened as the full scope of their discovery hit home. "This message isn't begging for mercy," she whispered, voice breaking through the cold digital logic. "It's begging us to stop a genocide." The vial within her pack pulsed softly, resonating with the gravity of its new purpose. No longer a relic of lost power, it had transformed into a weapon of salvation, humming with silent urgency. Every ticking second accelerated the countdown to oblivion. Every keystroke held the potential to prevent annihilation. She squared her shoulders, eyes blazing with renewed fire and unwavering resolve. They were no longer mere archivists or salvagers. They had become guardians of a fate far greater than survival. The room's cold silence bowed to the fierce flame of purpose burning in their hearts. Across Kale's datapad, red digits blazed with unforgiving clarity. Self-destruct sequence in T-352. Hollow alarms echoed through the vault's corridors. Containment fields hissed shut with lethal precision. Airlocks locked down. Life support systems diverted as if retreating from an imminent storm. The narrow window for action closed with every pulse of the digital clock. Anya and Kale exchanged a sharp, fleeting glance, understanding that hesitation meant doom. The low hum of cooling reactors crescendoed into an urgent call to arms, pressing them to choose between reckless flight or calculated defiance. Sparks flickered and danced along conduit seams, the system's fragility mirrored in the tension that gripped their every nerve. Seizing a quantum uplink tool, Kale initiated a surge of data broadcast, a torrent of Imperial secrets unleashed onto rebel networks and hidden cells across the sector. Video logs, edict transcripts, and purge schematics cascaded like emerald rivers through dark comm channels, breaching corporate firewalls once deemed impenetrable. Colonists on beleaguered frontier moons paused their toil as propaganda shifted to unfiltered truth on flickering screens. Star lanes lit up with pulses of emerald light, each spark a promise, a collective vow to resist and rise. The Emperor's darkest secrets became a beacon, turning fractured alliances into a unified front. In the hum of data and rebellion, truth became the most potent weapon of liberation. The vial's crystals surged with emerald light, and Kale's HUD stamped a new title across their displays, Starbreaker. Anya exhaled, the weight of the mantle settling on her shoulders with fierce clarity. "Then we break the core." The name reverberated across their comms, symbolizing not destruction, but the shattering of tyranny's grip. Old defense grids redrew on Kale's maps, lines breaking, new pathways forming, symbols of hope encoded in circuits. No longer mere archivist and diver, they transformed into pioneers of a final gambit. The codename was more than identity. It was a destiny forged in stardust and defiance, marking the dawn of a rebellion's ultimate strike. As lockdown sirens wailed anew, Anya and Kale grasped gauntlet to gloved hand in the ancient marcher tradition, a ritual older than the Empire itself, binding comrades in life and death. "We end this, or die trying." Their voices merged, echoing with solemn power through stone archways and digital ether alike. Candlelight flickered across the vial's crystalline facets, bathing their faces in green fire. Around them, hollow scrolls of the self-destruct code spiraled like sentinels bearing witness to their vow. No longer isolated individuals, they were united in purpose, sworn to rewrite the Empire's final chapter through defiance and sacrifice. In a flurry of calculated precision, Anya rigged the vial into a holographic decoy emitter. Its pulsations perfectly mimicked the real data signature, creating an illusion that lured lockdown drones on a wild chase through winding corridors. Doors slammed shut behind them, strobing red warning lights flickering as their boots echoed against metal grates. Shadows stretched long and distorted as the Empire's hunters pursued ghosts, while Anya and Kale vanished beneath the Archive's labyrinthine underbelly. Each synchronized heartbeat pulsed with the vial's emerald glow, propelling them closer to the galactic core and to a destiny forged in courage and defiance. Encrypted comms lit up like constellations across the rebel fleet as hidden captains voiced their unwavering allegiance. "We stand with Starbreaker." Hollow faces flickered across command hubs, corsairs, miners, ex-soldiers, all bound by a common cause. Each broadcast threaded their disparate cells into a tapestry of resistance and hope. Anya and Kale exchanged knowing nods as messages streamed past, a network of rebellion woven from the digital ether. The salvation of the core was no longer a secret mission. It was the banner under which a fractured galaxy would rally, a collective stand against oblivion. As databanks began their auto-purge and containment protocols screamed in mechanized fury, Anya and Kale sprinted through the narrowing corridors of the Emperor's citadel at the galactic core. Steam hissed from ruptured vents. Walkway panels buckled under the strain of system overload. Ahead, the gravity well's eerie glow cast long, distorted shadows as they made their final desperate dash toward the purge console. Bathed in the vial's emerald radiance, their silhouettes merged, two rebels against the void, united in purpose. Time fractured around them, destiny crystallized. This was their moment to shatter the Empire's doom and birth a new era for all worlds teetering on the edge of extinction. Across dozens of star systems, hollow channels flickered awake, bursting to life with the Empress's final, desperate message. Empress's plea: stop the purge. From orbital platforms to cramped colony quarters, her translucent, gaunt visage appeared, eyes filled with sorrow and unyielding hope. The stoic pulse of her hologram bathed every flickering screen in a soft green light, transforming what had been propaganda reels into a clarion call that pierced the cold static of imposed silence. Pilots mid-jump veered toward nearby comm stations, catching every urgent syllable as whole worlds paused in collective reverence. Around them, hollow panels that once bore the heavy insignia of the Concord shimmered and morphed, shifting allegiance in an instant. The broadcast rippled through space like a stone skipping across a still pond, igniting scattered embers of hope across the fractured rebellion. Meanwhile, the Concord's patrol fleets reeled under a sudden, unexpected recall order. Across command bridges, officers barked terse commands as plasma banks powered down and dreadnoughts reversed their course mid-hyperspace jump, leaving scorched corridors eerily deserted. On board, bridge officers slumped in disbelief as alarms fell silent for the first time in decades. Corporate boardrooms scrambled to contain the fallout, executives whispering frantic recalibrations as market tickers plunged in sync with plummeting planetary asset values. The recall directive, a radical rescindment of the purge mandate, sent shockwaves through the oligarchic power brokers, who watched their dominion crack under the strain of an alien mercy. Outside, the pale autumnal nebula cast its somber glow on dormant weapons systems, underscoring the fragility of a regime unaccustomed to compassion. It became clear mercy was more destabilizing to tyranny than any weapon ever forged. Far from the corridors of power, frontier militias rose with renewed fervor. On moons long shackled by oppression, local citadels were stormed and reclaimed, their battlements freshly draped in white banners emblazoned with the Empress's plea for peace and mercy. Blacksmiths hammered scrap metal into makeshift sigils of hope, while printers churned out pamphlets bearing her words, "Knowledge saves more than armies." Around campfires and barracks, elders recited the plea aloud, their voices weaving the fragile thread of unity that bound disparate factions. Fighters armed with scavenged rifles stood sentinel beside the unarmed, shielding those who would read the message aloud without fear. The transformation of oppressive fortresses into beacons of hope turned swords into shields and rebellion into redemption. Against a backdrop of crumbling walls, fighters lowered old flags in solemn salute, eyes glistening with the weight of newfound purpose. Amidst this swelling tide, Anya's voice surged through commandeered freighter-comm channels, sharp, clear, and ringing with defiance. They called it a trap. Now we call it salvation. The words cut through hissing static like a beacon, charging derelict ships and salvage crews across the sector. Tools dropped, drills powered down. Miners abandoned their wreckage to pivot en masse toward her coordinates. Even in the darkest coves of the outer reaches, her rallying cry blossomed into an anthem of deliverance. Her hologram flickered in rusted freighter holds, illuminating faces weathered by hardship and hopeful for change. Hands clenched into fists rose in unison, signaling solidarity born from shared peril and a burning hunger for freedom. Behind the scenes, Kale commandeered the Concorde's blockade network with deft precision, fingers flying over hollow keys as he reprogrammed sensor arrays and scanners to reveal long-hidden passages to the galactic core. Data streams realigned, transforming sealed choke points into lifelines of rebellion. Rebel cruisers slipped silently through labyrinthine hyperspace lanes, while Concorde sensors spun innocuously, blind to their presence. Kale's recalibrated star maps glowed with shifting lines, the red of blockade zones fading to vibrant green pathways. Each new corridor uncovered felt like a victory, turning prisons into portals and weaving a web of escape for those daring enough to defy Imperial reach. Yet even these clandestine routes were fraught with peril. Every star lane teemed with Concorde dreadnoughts. No haven was truly safe. Anya, with steady hands and sharper resolve, severed the fleet's external pings, declaring fiercely, "We chart our own escape." Transponder blips vanished from sensor arrays, rendering the rebel armada ghosts amid swirling asteroid fields and pulsar storms. Supply freighters tucked into gravitational anomalies, fighter squadrons scattered like sparks from a dying flame, each jump testing nerves as silence replaced frantic comm chatter. Yet in that silence, they found shield, the sound of freedom ringing louder than any laser volley. With no eyes to betray them, they wove through cosmic shadows, determined to survive and rewrite their fate. Beneath the emerald reactor glow of the rebel flagship, cruisers lined up in flawless formation, each hull bearing the Empress's plea as a radiant emblem of defiance. Over the encrypted comnet, a unified voice thundered. One fleet, one cause, one message. Engineers linked power cores, amplifying the green light that bathed their faces and vessels alike. Captains anchored shields in solidarity, transforming ragtag ships into a single armada of mercy and rebellion. In that luminous moment, the differences of origin faded away. Miners, outcasts, scholars, all melded into one purpose, one heartbeat. Salutes rose in perfect synchrony beneath flickering holograms, and crews met each other's eyes, fortified by shared resolve. Together, under the cosmic dance of reactors and stars, they forged a unity stronger than any weapon. Anya stood alone on the rebel flagship's temple-like bridge, bathed in the soft emerald glow of hollow panels that curved around her like a sanctuary. Before her, ghostly holologs spun slowly, silent worlds erased by the Concorde's ruthless purge algorithms. Phantom planets drifted in virtual space, their once bright city lights now extinguished, orbitals reduced to dust rings. Each file she opened detailed starports turned mausoleums, trade routes severed forever, and entire cultures wiped from memory by cold, unfeeling code. The weight of these lost civilizations pressed heavily on her chest, a silent testament to the cost of survival. Her reflection flickered faintly in the viewport glass, merging with the phantom cityscapes, a haunting reminder of what had been sacrificed. She steadied her breath, resolve hardening like steel in the quiet aftermath where triumph and sorrow intertwined. Beneath the bridge, in the ship's tunnel-like data vault, Cale Durant stood alone, clutching shattered telemetry cores salvaged from the Purge device's meltdown. His gloved hands trembled as he examined holovials pulsing with unstable resonance, the ambient hum mirroring the uncertainty in his chest. "We blasted open the core. We might doom them all," he murmured, voice heavy with guilt. Flickering memories haunted him. Ash-choked skies, orphan survivors, and fields wiped clean of life. Though their victory had saved billions, Cale's mind was plagued by the fear that they might have condemned more in the process. Under the vault's oppressive silence, his heart wrestled with the painful price of truth. Anya met Cale's haunted gaze, her voice steady and unwavering despite the Purge device's distant roar. "Better to face the storm than be its victim," she declared, planting her boots firmly on the obsidian floor. Officers snapped to attention, hanging on her every word as she squared her shoulders, carving a path through the creeping fear. "We break it before it breaks the cosmos." Around her, hollow displays flickered to life, realigning to reveal escape vectors and override keys, casting emerald glows across determined faces. In that crucible of adrenaline and doubt, hesitation crystallized into clarity. The rebel flagship transformed into an arc of defiance, its crew united by the hope of cure, anchored by Anya's steadfast commitment. The relentless hum of the Purge core echoed through the chamber like a solemn funeral drum, reverberating in the hearts of Anya and Cale, who stood side by side, yet separated by an unspoken chasm of fear. Each pulse from the device felt like a verdict weighing on every world saved and those lost. Their eyes met, the silence charged with the gravity of sacrifice and survival, doubts ricocheting off steel bulkheads. Between them lay a fragile rift, the burden of responsibility thick as the oppressive hum that filled the room. Yet within that pregnant quiet, a silent vow passed between them, forging a bond stronger than fear itself. In the dim glow of the vault's hollow archives, Cale's voice cracked with raw vulnerability. "Will you hold me if this kills you?" The question hung heavily, each word a heartbeat within the tense stillness. Anya's steady gaze swept the flickering scrolls before locking onto his, unwavering. "Always star by star." The promise reverberated like a cosmic pulse, fusing two wills into one unbreakable force. Dormant hollow scrolls shimmered, as if bearing silent witness to their shared trial. This was no mere oath, but a covenant forged in the shadow of annihilation. Love and courage tempered by sacrifice, guiding them toward a destiny defined by defiance. As the vault's lockdown sirens blared and vents hissed around them, Anya gripped Cale's datapad tightly, her eyes meeting his with fierce determination. "Always, star by star," she vowed once more, as the starbreaker pulse steadied beneath her touch, a life-affirming heartbeat reverberating through the hull. In that moment, fear melted into a vow spanning galaxies, a commitment to end the Purge before oblivion consumed every world. Their clasped forearms locked firmly, gears turning in unison within a living machine of resistance. Around them, the bridge's hollow displays shimmered emerald and gold, reflecting hope born from sacrifice. United by defiance, Anya and Cale stood sentinel, two lives entwined, ready to forge a new dawn from Empire's ashes. The core access corridor buzzed with urgent energy as rebel engineers flooded the vaulted tunnel, once a grim artery funneling antimatter into the Purge drive. Sparks scattered as heavy boots echoed, and clamps hissed while technicians severed power conduits with precision, rerouting the immense energy flow. Crystal lattice feedback loops shimmered and pulsed under deft fingers, realigning the power to feed the Concorde's central AI matrix instead of destruction. Overhead, thermoregulators clanked and whined as flight-suited engineers braced against surging currents, their faces lit by emerald cascades rippling down steel ribs. Anya stood at the master junction, hammering the hollow switch with purpose, redirecting the purge's reservoir to life support arrays, turning a weapon of annihilation into a source of renewal. The corridor seemed to breathe anew, emerald light chasing decades of frozen dread from the shadows. Every crystal chimed in harmonic defiance, a choir singing salvation. In that moment, the Purge engine's cold heart transformed into the vibrant pulse of hope. As the AI matrix roared to life, Anya's voice thundered through every communication channel. Knowledge, not slaughter, binds us. Her words surged across the Concorde's neural web, slicing through centuries of censorship and propaganda. Orbital arrays pulsed with emerald flares, broadcasting her message to every frontier station and sprawling urban sector. Starports stilled as workers paused mid-task, their eyes drawn skyward to the shifting holotext that wove through the static. The AI parsed the Emperor's final plea with clarity, projecting luminous script onto grand library domes and towering market spires. Each letter a radiant testament to mercy and unity. Where once only the relentless countdown of Purge engines echoed, now a clear and unbroken sentence threaded through every system, binding the fractured colonies with the promise of understanding and hope. On dozens of distant moons, dormant terraforming grids stirred to life as data flowed into life support systems. Once barren seas fizzed with nutrient-rich aerosols, while algae fields unfurled in wave-like carpets across rust-red dunes. Settler hollow feeds captured moments of raw emotion. Families weeping as emerald tendrils cracked open granite crusts, refugees watching in awe as silent dust blossomed into living green. Camps transformed into nurseries for new ecosystems. Children waded in shallow tide pools glowing with luminescent plankton. Biologists in patch field suits recorded rapid pH shifts and surging biomass, their cheers punctuating nights that had long been silent. What began as a flicker of hope erupted into a seismic renaissance, a tidal wave reversing the Concorde's final gambit. Code and crystal converged to breathe new life into every planet, rewriting destinies as settlers and survivors sang the chorus of renewal beneath twin moons. With purification underway, the Concorde's archives flung open their once sealed vaults, now repurposed as vibrant public libraries. Marble halls echoed with laughter, debate, and the rustle of turning pages. Citizens, long barred from knowledge, streamed into reading chambers bathed in emerald light, clutching printed copies of the Emperor's final plea, its words inscribed in every tome and hollow scroll. Children clutched illustrated editions, tracing the curving glyphs with wide eyes. Elders pored over annotated manifestos, sharing memories once suppressed. Scholars huddled beneath domed ceilings where AI projected passages rotated in cascading light. Knowledge saves more than armies. What had been hoarded secrets flowed freely like a river, irrigating parched intellectual landscapes. Each citizen became both librarian and learner, breathing life into the Empire's heart, now reborn as a beacon of collective discovery and shared destiny. In the flagship's upper gallery, Kale's hand rested steady on Anya's shoulder as the vessel drifted past a shimmering nebula of restored worlds. His voice was soft but firm. You saved more than worlds. You saved a legacy. A tired smile crossed her lips, eyes reflecting starbursts of planets once lost but now flourishing anew. Around them, officers exchanged knowing nods as the Starbreaker pulse glowed steadily on every console, a heartbeat connecting their shared struggle. In this quiet victory, The heavy cost of truth found its reward in a living constellation of freedoms rekindled. The echo of an emperor's last plea resonated through every revived biome and reopened archive, binding cosmos and conscience in a covenant that could not be broken. Two rebels, once driven by fear and doubt, now stood as custodians of knowledge, champions of life, and architects of hope, a legacy rewritten among the stars. The rebel fleet converged in tight formation around the galactic core, every ship channeling their shields and power conduits into the heart of the purge drive. As the lethal pressure spikes surged, engineers rerouted them harmlessly into terraforming beams, transforming a weapon of annihilation into a radiant pulse of creation. Crystal arrays across the fleet resonated, humming in unison with the synchronized energy flow, their emerald light bathing the command bridge in a glow of defiant hope. The purge drive's deadly pulse faltered, replaced by steady luminescence that chased away decades of darkness. For the first time, weapons meant to destroy were forged into instruments that breathed life across the cosmos. Proof that unity and ingenuity can rewrite even the cruelest fate. Terraforming satellites reawakened in unison, engines igniting the dying ecosystems of barren worlds. Within hours, lifeless moons began to pulse with new vitality. Algal blooms spread rapidly across cracked deserts. Juvenile sea creatures stir beneath once still waters, and gentle rains pattered onto newly greening plains. Scientists monitored shifts in pH and biomass, marveling as the pace of restoration far exceeded predictions. Colonists gathered beneath nascent clouds, their cheers echoing over fields that had long known only dust. Each bloom was more than a biological miracle. It was a symbol of enduring hope, a cosmic healing tuned precisely to the frequency of survival. The galaxy watched, breath held, as life reclaimed the silence once cast by fear and despair. From the heart of the restored citadel, Anya's calm voice projected across the galaxy. Let us govern with truth, not terror. Her broadcast shattered decades of oppressive silence, rippling through star systems both loyal and rebellious. Screens in cramped outposts and grand halls alike flickered, switching from imperial decrees to her message of transparency and unity. Her words dismantled fear with reason, inviting former foes to envision a Concord reborn, one ruled by justice, shared stewardship, and open dialogue instead of secrecy and force. Across continents and colonies, her message ignited conversations and hopes, knitting fractured societies into a tentative but powerful covenant. In that moment, true power revealed itself, not in weapons, but in the courage to speak hope aloud. Within the throne hall's restored crystal light, Kale knelt before Anya, his voice trembling with reverence. By your hand, we found mercy. She met his steady gaze, radiant with quiet strength. By your faith, we found hope. Around them, the chamber shimmered with emerald hues as the weight of past horrors gave way to possibility. Their joined hands sealed a covenant not forged in vengeance, but in compassion, not conquest but restoration. This moment crystallized the rebellion's soul, proof that mercy could transform enemies into allies and that love could rebuild what hatred sought to destroy. Their bond, glowing softly in the throne's light, became a beacon piercing through the Empire's shattered darkness. Across the galactic data networks, rebel specialists unleashed a torrent of revelations. Encrypted imperial plans, hidden archives, and erased histories flowed freely for the first time. Corporate vaults cracked open, exposing war crimes, cover-ups, and forgotten truths. Colonists, diplomats, and scholars sifted through the flood, piecing together a fuller picture of the Empire's shadowed past. This unprecedented transparency dismantled old power structures and ignited widespread calls for reconciliation. The torrent was not merely data, it was an anthem of liberation, flooding the void with possibility and demanding accountability. as secrets spilled across hollow screens and whispered in crowded chambers. The galaxy took its first collective breath toward healing and hope. Recognizing their lost mandate, Council Lords abdicated power, calling for free and fair elections. The Citadel's gilded halls echoed with murmurs of renewal as generals, bureaucrats, and nobles laid down their arms and regalia. The iron grip of empire softened, rigid hierarchies dissolving into forums for discourse and democracy. Starports and cities raised banners emblazoned with the verdant accord, a new era promising governance by consent and shared sovereignty. Though scars of conflict lingered, the retreat signaled hope, an empire not of tyranny, but of healing and partnership. Across planets and sectors, citizens embraced the dawn of a future where power was tempered by mercy and stewardship. In the heart of the restored throne room, Anya and Kale affixed their signatures to the Charter of Concordia, pledging unity, justice, and planetary stewardship. Delegates from rebel factions, liberated colonies, and former loyalists gathered beneath vaulted ceilings etched with ancient star charts, witnessing the birth of a new governance model. The charter blended direct democracy with planetary autonomy, symbolizing the galaxy's rebirth from division. Each signature ignited emerald-lit crystal panels, flooding the chamber with warm, hopeful light. This solemn act was more than ink on parchment. It was a binding vow to nurture a fractured cosmos and ensure that no star, no life, would be left in darkness again. Across starfields and thriving cities, the Starbreaker crest soared above every citadel and settlement, an emblem of hope, resilience, and renewal. Statues of Anya holding the crystal vial stood in plazas bathed in emerald light beneath twin moons, their faces etched with determination and compassion. Children played beneath fluttering banners adorned with the crest, while elders shared tales of a rebellion sparked not by conquest, but by mercy and courage. This legacy endured as a living monument, a testament to peace forged through defiance and hope, reminding all that true power lies in protecting life and rewriting destiny with compassion. The camera pulled back to reveal the Starbreaker fleet gliding through nebulae, a constellation of emerald light navigating toward uncharted frontiers. New colonies blossomed in the distance, bathed in soft green radiance as the galaxy exhaled a collective sigh of relief. This era was defined not by oppression, but by shared stewardship and hope. Within every cockpit, council chamber, and home, the Starbreaker emblem shone, a beacon reminding all that a single message, a single act of mercy, can alter the destiny of countless worlds. Hope, like light, endured beyond the darkest night, guiding the cosmos toward a future of life and unity. Dusty scrolls and hollow codices, once locked away in the sealed vaults of the Empire, now fill the grand libraries rising across dozens of reclaimed worlds. Marble floors echo with eager footsteps and quiet murmurs as scholars, students, and everyday citizens pore over the recovered wisdom, lost histories, rebel manifestos, and the Empress's final plea etched in holographic script. Each library stands as a beacon of resilience, a sanctuary preserving a collective memory that no longer hides in shadow. Reopening these archives sanctifies the rebellion's triumph, transforming enforced silence into a vibrant symphony of enlightenment. Through these walls, generations learn not only of past oppression, but also the seeds of hope and renewal sown by courage. The libraries pulse with life, their crystal chandeliers casting light on the faces of those reclaiming their heritage and identity. Anya presides over the inaugural Concordia Council, a diverse assembly drawn from liberated worlds and rebel factions, united in healing fractured star systems through cooperation and stewardship. Her calm but resolute voice guides debates on planetary restoration, equitable resource sharing, and the ethical use of terraforming technology. Meanwhile, Kale commands starship convoys ferrying seed pods and crystal cultivars to remote moons and barren planets. Together, their leadership melds science with diplomacy, nurturing a culture where renewal is ecological, social, and political. The Council's decisions shape policies that protect biodiversity and empower local communities. The vision they foster transcends mere survival. It inspires collective responsibility, forging a galaxy where healing the land means healing its people. From chamber debates to starship decks, hope becomes a shared mission, steering a fragile but growing future. When offered command of the newly reformed Concord fleet, Anya smiles softly and declines, "I'll wander the stars, delivering hope." Refusing to anchor herself to one post, she outfits her personal vessel with life support arrays and crystal vaults, setting out on quiet, solitary missions. Her ship weaves through nebula-lit star fields, scattering crystal seed pods in forgotten craters, barren plains, and ice-shrouded polar basins. Each landing sparks a miniature oasis, turning desolate outposts into glowing beacons of life. Anya's stewardship becomes a wandering vow. Each new world touched carries a fragment of her courage and compassion. In her solitude, she embodies a nomadic tradition of caretakers, sowing renewal where command and conquest fall short. Her journey is a living testament to leadership's quiet power. On a tranquil overlook beneath twin moons, Anya and Kale stand side by side, hands clasped forearm to forearm, a timeless Valinora vow sealing unity and trust. The nebula-streaked horizon stretches wide as colonies flourish and starports hum with vibrant life. Soft winds carry the gentle tinkle of leaf-iron chimes and the distant hum of dew harvesters. Settlers pause their work, faces lifted to watch the celestial dawn bathing verdant fields in gold and rose light. The galaxies they helped restore shine like jewels against the dark velvet of space, each star and sprout a testament to sacrifice and renewal. In that shared moment, peace ceases to be a distant ideal and becomes a living presence, woven into every star's glow, every sprouting leaf, every breath drawn in defiant hope. Across bustling town squares and gleaming spaceports, statues and monuments rise, depicting Anya and Kale standing resolute beneath the radiant Starbreaker emblem. Holographic star maps dance overhead as children laugh and play, tracing emblems in the dust and sky with curious fingers. Elders gather beneath the sculpture's soft emerald glow, recounting stories of rebellion, sacrifice, and rebirth to captivated listeners. Each statue is a seed planted deep within the cultural soil. Every story told, a root extending into fertile ground. The galaxy breathes easier knowing that its defenders' sacrifices endure, not as monuments to war, but as living legacies of courage, renewal, and hope. These foundations inspire new generations to protect what was reclaimed, ensuring that peace remains vibrant and enduring across the cosmos. On the restored capital's sunlit shore, a curious child kneels, fingers clutching a weathered sandy flask, its surface worn smooth by time and tides. The relic, once lost to the depths, now rests like a whispered promise in small hands. Looking up with wide, innocent eyes, the child asks Anya. They say it held a dying emperor's plea. What happened next? The question hangs softly in the salt-tinged air, bridging past and future, legend and lived memory. Around them, gentle waves lap the shore, carrying echoes of hope on the morning breeze. Anya kneels beside the child, her voice gentle as sea foam curling on sand. It washed ashore and woke a galaxy from its slumber. Her words ripple with the weight of history, of battles fought, sacrifices made, and lives rekindled. The flask is more than glass. It is a vessel of courage, carrying the pulse of a rebellion that refused to fade. The story shifts from myth to truth, carried forward on the tides of time, stirring dormant courage in every heart it touches. Standing quietly behind Anya, Kale places a steady hand on her shoulder, his voice firm yet warm. And we answered, with mercy, not might. His words carry the deep resonance of hard-won peace and a new path forged beyond violence. This affirmation is not just a reflection on past struggles, but a declaration of the rebellion's enduring legacy, compassion's triumph over conquest. In that moment, the bond of their shared journey glows brighter than any star, a testament to the power of mercy to heal even the deepest scars. Above them, the Starbreaker emblem glows softly against the dawning sky, an eternal beacon carved in emerald light atop the Capitol spires. It pulses gently, breathing life into the cityscape and casting a hopeful glow over ancient stone and gleaming towers alike. This symbol, born of sacrifice and defiance, stands as living proof that a single message carried in a simple bottle can shift the course of entire galaxies. It radiates a heartbeat of renewal, echoing the courage that transformed despair into dawn, lighting the path for generations to come. The camera slowly pulls back to reveal the bustling city awakening beneath twin suns. Markets opening, children's laughter weaving through crowded plazas, and the horizon ablaze with the golden light of possibility. The flask rests safe in the hands of future storytellers, its message intertwined with the very fabric of this vibrant world. Here, rebellion and hope converge into a singular truth. Sometimes, one act of courage, one voice, one bottle can save a galaxy. The final echo reverberates across stars and souls alike, a timeless testament to hope's enduring power.